2453, ready for pushback at Alpha 1.
Capital Tower, good afternoon. Air Portugal 1378 is on approach.
Air Transat 2453 cleared for pushback.
Air Portugal 1378 clear to land runway 17.
Cape Road ground, Air Transat 2453 ready to taxi. Air Transat 2453. Taxi to runway
Ladies and
17
gentlemen, please
left.
pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in the upright position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the exits which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you'll be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
Clearance, good afternoon, Boliviana 2607, ready for pushback at Alpha 2. Boliviana 2607, cleared for pushback. Cape Takeoff runway 17 left. Air Transat 2453 cleared for takeoff runway 17 left.
Capital ground, Air Portugal 1378 taxi to gate Alpha 1.
Cape Road ground, Boliviana 2607, ready to taxi. Boliviana 2607, taxi to runway 17 left. Tower, good afternoon, Fly B 40906 is on approach. Fly B, 40906, cleared to land runway 17 right.
Air Portugal 1378 taxi to gate Alpha 1. Capital Tower Air Portugal 1378 request to cross runway. Air Portugal 1378 continue taxi. Capital Ground Air Portugal 1378 with you.
Cape Phil clearance. Good afternoon. Saudia 2737 ready for pushback at Charlie 1. Saudia 2737 cleared for pushback.
Boliviana 2607 cleared for takeoff runway 17 left.
Cape Phil ground. Saudia 2737 ready to taxi.
Capital clearance. Good afternoon. Iroquois 5309 ready for pushback at Bravo 4.
Cape Phil Tower. Good afternoon. Lufthansa 69902 is on approach. Lufthansa 69902 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Iroquois 5309 cleared for pushback. Iroquois 5309 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capital Tower. Good afternoon. Air China 2228 is on approach. Air China 2228 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Iroquois 5309 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
EVA 8159 cleared for pushback.
Cape Phil ground. Lufthansa 69902 taxi to the gates.
Capital ground. EVA 8159 ready to taxi. EVA 8159 taxi to runway 35 right.
Lufthansa 69902 taxi to gate Bravo 4. Cape Phil Tower. Lufthansa 69902 request to cross runway.
Capital Ground. Air China 2228 taxi to the gates.
Cedar Jet 7355 cleared for pushback.
Cape Phil Tower. Good evening. Finnair 7174 is on approach. Finnair 7174 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Lufthansa 69902 continue taxi.
Air China 2228 taxi to gate Charlie 4.
Cape Phil ground. Lufthansa 69902 with you.
Air China 2228 continue taxi.
EVA 8159 line up and wait runway 35 right.
Capital Ground. Air China 2228 with you.
Capital Tower. Cedar Jet 7355 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. Cedar Jet 7355 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
EVA 8159 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capital clearance. Good evening. Air Transat 90253 ready for pushback at Alpha 4.
Capeville Ground, Finnair 7174, taxi to the gates. Finnair 7174, taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Aeroflot 90386 is on approach. Aeroflot 90386 cleared to land runway 35 left. Capeville clearance, good evening. Kuwaiti 6209 ready for pushback at Bravo 3.
Capeville Tower, Finnair 7174, requested cross runway. Finnair 7174, continue taxi.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Azul 7708 is on approach. Azul 7708 clear to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground, Finnair 7174, with you.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Avianca 7502 is on approach. Avianca 7502 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance, good evening. Egypt Air 2533 ready for pushback at Alpha 5.
Capeville Ground, Aeroflot 90386 requesting taxi to the gates.
Air Transat 90253 cleared for pushback.
Kuwaiti 6209 cleared for pushback.
Egypt Air 2533 cleared for pushback.
Capeville clearance, good evening. Jet Airways 8767 ready for pushback at Alpha 1.
Capeville Ground, Air Transat 90253 ready to taxi.
Jet Airways 8767 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Ground, Kuwaiti 6209 ready to taxi.
Capeville Ground, Avianca 7502 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Ground, Egypt Air 2533 ready to taxi.
Air Transat 90253 taxi to runway 35 right.
Jet Airways 8767 taxi to runway 35 right.
Ethiopian 90660 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, Aeroflot 90386 request to cross runway. Kuwaiti 6209 taxi to runway 35 right.
Azul 7708 taxi to gate Alpha 1.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Qantas 1386 is on approach. Qantas 1386, clear to land runway 35 left.
Egypt Air 2533 taxi to runway 35 right.
Kuwaiti 6209 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Avianca 7502 taxi to gate Bravo 3.
ABX 4827, taxi to runway 35 right.
Egypt Air 2533 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Air Transat 90253 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Aeroflot 8210 is on approach.
Capeville Ground, UPS 2353 ready to taxi.
Jet Airways 8767 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right. Aeroflot 8210 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground, Ethiopian 90660 taxi to the gates.
UPS 53, taxi to runway 35, right.
Capville clearance. Good evening. KLM 4329er ready for pushback at Alpha 2. KLM 4329er cleared for pushback.
Capville Tower ABX 4827 ready for takeoff runway 35 right. ABX 4827 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capville ground. KLM 4329er ready to taxi.
Capeville ground, Aeroflot 8210, taxi to the gates.
KLM 4329er taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville clearance. Good evening. Lot 7143 ready for pushback at Alpha 3.
Capville ground Qantas 1386 taxi to gate Alpha 2.
Ethiopian 9660 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
UPS 2353 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Air Transat 1910 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Aeroflot 8210, taxi to gate Charlie 2.
Lot 7143 taxi to runway 35 right.
Aeroflot 90386 continue taxi.
Capville clearance. Good evening. Air China 6303 ready for pushback at Bravo 2.
Capeville ground, Aeroflot 90386 with you.
Capeville Tower, Azul 7708, request to cross runway. Azul 7708, continue taxi.
Capville Tower. KLM 4329er ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Avianca 7502 continue taxi.
Capeville ground, Azul 7708, with you.
Ethiopian 9660 continue taxi.
Capeville ground. Avianca 7502 with you.
Qantas 1386 continue taxi.
Capeville ground, Ethiopian 9660 with you.
Aeroflot 8210, continue taxi. Capeville ground, Aeroflot 8210, with you.
Capville ground Qantas 1386 with you.
Capeville Tower, good evening. EVA 5830 is on approach.
KLM 4329er line up and wait runway 35 right.
Lot 7143 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
KLM 4329er cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Delta 8866 is on approach. Delta 8866, clear to land runway 35 left.
Air China 6303 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
EVA 5830 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance. Good evening. DHL 7171 ready for pushback at Charlie 3.
Air Transat 1910 request to cross runway.
Capville clearance. Good evening. China Eastern 5913 ready for pushback at runway 1. China Eastern 5913 cleared for pushback.
DHL 7171 cleared for pushback.
Air Transat 1910 continue taxi. Ground, Air Transat 1910 with you.
Capeville Tower, good evening. ABUX 6246 is on approach. ABUX 6246 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville ground. China Eastern 5913 ready to taxi.
Capeville ground. DHL 7171 ready to taxi.
China Eastern 5913 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville ground. EVA 5830 taxi to gate Alpha 3.
Air Transat 1910 hold position.
DHL 7171 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capitol Ground, Delta 8866, taxi to the gates.
Air Transat 1910, continue taxi.
Capital Tower, good evening. Etihad 8650 is on approach.
Delta 8866, taxi to gate Bravo 1.
Etihad 8650 cleared to land runway 35 left. Capital clearance Air China 2229 ready for pushback at Charlie 4.
Capeville clearance, Lufthansa 699er ready for pushback at Bravo 4.
Air China 2229 cleared for pushback.
DHL 7171, hold position.
Lufthansa 699er cleared for pushback.
Catville Tower, EVA 5830,
Before
request to
takeoff, we
cross
would like to
runway.
encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft.
EVA 5830, continue taxi. Catville Ground, EVA 5830, with you.
Capital Tower, China Eastern 5913 ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capital Ground Air China 2229 ready to taxi.
EVA 5830, hold position.
Air China 2229 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville ground, Lufthansa 699er ready to taxi.
DHL 7171, continue taxi.
Lufthansa 699er taxi to runway 35 right.
Catville Ground, ABUX 6246, taxi to the gates. ABUX 6246, taxi to gate Charlie 3.
Capitol Tower, Delta 8866, request to cross runway.
Jordanian 1338 clear to land runway 35 left.
EVA 5830, continue taxi.
Delta 8866, continue taxi. Capitol Ground, Delta 8866, with you.
China Eastern 5913 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right. Taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower, Lufthansa 699er ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Etihad 8650 taxi to gate Bravo 4.
Lufthansa 699er cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, DHL 7171, ready for takeoff runway 35 right. DHL 7171, cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville clearance, Finnair 7175 ready for pushback at Bravo 5.
Catville Tower, ABUX 6246, request to cross runway.
Finnair 7175 cleared for pushback.
ABUX 6246, continue taxi.
Capital Tower, Air China 2229, ready for takeoff runway 35, right.
Capital Tower, good evening, Asiana 2120 is on approach. Asiana 2120 clear to land runway 35 left.
Capital Ground, ABUX 6246, with you.
Air China 2229, cleared for takeoff runway 35, right.
Capeville Ground, Finnair 7175, ready to taxi.
Capital Tower, Etihad 8650, request to cross runway. Etihad 8650, continue taxi.
Finnair 7175, taxi to runway 35 right.
Capital Ground, Etihad 8650, with you.
Capital Ground, Jordanian 1338 taxi to gate Bravo 5.
Capeville Tower, Finnair 7175, ready for takeoff runway 35 right. Finnair 7175 cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capital Tower, Jordanian 1338 request to cross runway. Jordanian 1338 continue taxi.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Atlas Air 4256 is on approach.
Capital Ground, Jordanian 1338 with you.
Atlas Air 4256 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capital Ground, Asiana 2120 requesting taxi to the gates. Asiana 2120 taxi to gate Alpha 5. Capital Tower, Asiana 2120 request to cross runway. Asiana 2120 continue taxi. Capital Ground, Asiana 2120 with you.
Capeville Ground, Atlas Air 4256 taxi to the gates. Atlas Air 4256 taxi to gate Charlie 4. Capeville Tower, Atlas Air 4256 request to cross runway. Atlas Air 4256 continue taxi. Capeville Ground, Atlas Air 4256 with you.
Capital Tower, good evening, Olympic 7342 is on approach. Olympic 7342 clear to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Caribbean 8978 is on approach. Caribbean 8978 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Malaysian 2418 is on approach. Malaysian 2418 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capital clearance, Azul 7709, ready for pushback at Alpha 1. Azul 7709er cleared for pushback.
Capeville clearance, Avionka 7503 ready for pushback at Bravo 3.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Air France 3462 is on approach.
Capeville clearance, Ethiopian 90661 ready for pushback at Charlie 1.
Air France 3462 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville clearance. Aeroflot 8211 ready for pushback at Charlie 2. Capeville Tower, good evening. FedEx 8490 is on approach. FedEx 8490 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capital clearance Qantas 1387 ready for pushback at Alpha 2.
Capeville clearance Aeroflot 90387 ready for pushback at Alpha 4.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Finnair 7064 is on approach.
Azul 7709er taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville ground Caribbean 8978 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Spinnaker 1626 is on approach. Spinnaker 1626 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Finnair 7064 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capital ground Olympic 7342 requesting taxi to the gates.
Capeville ground, Ethiopian 90661 ready to taxi.
Capital ground Qantas 1387 ready to taxi.
Capeville ground Aeroflot 90387 ready to taxi.
Capeville ground Air Transat 1911 ready to taxi.
Capeville ground Air France 3462 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower, Azul 7709er ready for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Lion Inter 4368 is on approach. Lion Inter 4368 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville ground FedEx 8490 taxi to the gates.
Avionka 7503 taxi to runway 35 right.
Ethiopian 90661 taxi to runway 35 right.
Qantas 1387 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville ground Finnair 7064 taxi to the gates.
Capeville Tower. Good evening. Kestrel 62908 is on approach. Kestrel 62908 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Aeroflot 90387 taxi to runway 35 right.
Eva 5831 cleared for pushback.
Capeville Tower. Good evening. China Southern 6686 is on approach.
Capital Tower Olympic 7342 request to cross runway.
China Southern 6686 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Tower, good evening. Japan Air 9502 is on approach. Japan Air 9502 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Delta 8867 taxi to runway 35 right.
Caribbean 8978 taxi to gate Alpha 2. Capeville Tower, good evening. Azul 3646 is on approach. Azul 3646 cleared to land runway 35 left.
Air Transat 1911 taxi to runway 35 right.
Malaysian 2418 taxi to gate Bravo 2.
Capeville ground. ABUX 6247 ready to taxi.
Air France 3462 taxi to gate Charlie 1.
Aeroflot 8211 taxi to runway 35 right.
Etihad 8651 taxi to runway 35 right.
Capeville ground, Lion Inter 4368 taxi to the gates.
Olympic 7342 continue taxi.
Caribbean 8978 continue taxi.
Capital ground Olympic 7342 with you.
Malaysian 2418, continue taxi.
Capeville Ground, Caribbean 89er78 with you.
Capital Ground Malaysian 2418, with you.
Eva 5831, taxi to runway 35, right. Capville Tower, good evening. Astral 5606 is on approach.
Air France 3462, continue taxi.
Astral 5606. Cleared to land runway 35 left.
Capeville Ground. Air France 3462. With you.
Capville Ground, Kestrel 62908, taxi to the gates.
Azul 7709er, cleared for takeoff runway 35. Right.
Avianca 7503. Cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Air Transat 1911, cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Asiana 2121, taxi to runway 35 right. Capital clearance, Jordanian 1339er, ready for pushback at Bravo 5.
Aeroflot 90387, cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Qantas 1387, cleared for takeoff runway 35 right.
Capeville Ground, China Southern 6686, taxi to the gates. FedEx 8490, continue taxi.